Have you ever felt like a human radar? Constantly scanning for every subtle frown, every heavy sigh, and every shift in the mood of the room you occupy? We often call this kindness or being a people pleaser. But deep down, it might be a survival mask you have worn for a very long time now. You are not broken. You are simply executing a brilliant protection strategy that your nervous system designed long ago to keep you safe from perceived harm and rejection. Think of the moments you agreed to work late, despite being exhausted, or when you said it was okay, after someone insulted you just to avoid conflict. This hypervigilance is a tool, a way to detect instability in the air before it strikes. It is the silent work of a brain that is always on guard. Your brain learned that being agreeable was the fastest way to stay safe. It is a sophisticated stance of submission designed to pacify any potential threat or anger. This response is often more exhausting than any physical battle. It requires you to constantly monitor others while completely ignoring your own needs and your own internal voice. Your biology prioritized connection over authenticity because, in the wild of your past, being alone or disliked meant facing a danger you could not handle alone. Today, we peel back the layers of this mask to understand why your brain chooses the fawn response and how you can finally reclaim your true self today. Welcome to the deep dive into the hidden world of social survival. This is not just about psychology, it is about the very hardware of your human existence. Let us explore the symphony of submission and discover what happens when your survival depends on making everyone else happy, except for yourself in the process. We all know fight, flight, and freeze. But the fourth response fawn is the most social one. It is the art of befriending the threat to stay safe. When you cannot fight back and you cannot run away, your brain finds a middle ground. It decides to become whatever the aggressor needs you to be. Imagine a child who cannot escape a chaotic home. They do not yell. They do not hide. Instead, they bring a glass of water to calm the storm. This is fawning in its purest form. It is a strategic move to de-escalate tension and ensure that the caregiver remains stable enough to provide basic care. In the animal kingdom, camouflage is life. For a fawner, emotional camouflage is the way they blend into the background to avoid becoming a target of anger. This is not a conscious choice. It is the command of the amygdala, your brain's alarm center, bypassing your logic to ensure immediate survival through social harmony. You become a mirror. If they are sad, you are empathetic. If they are angry, you are apologetic. You dissolve your own identity to fit their current mold. This merging feels like safety, but it comes at a high cost. You are essentially trading your soul for a temporary sense of peace and social security. Fawning is a soft shield. It does not block the blow with force. It absorbs the energy by giving in, hoping the attacker will lose their momentum. In modern life, this manifests as the yes man or the friend who never has an opinion of their own. It is a constant state of social performance. You learn to prioritize the comfort of others over your own physical and emotional well-being, often without even realizing that you are doing it at all. It becomes an addiction to safety. The relief you feel when someone is finally happy with you is the only reward your nervous system seeks anymore. You feel like a puppet, but the strings are tied to the emotions of everyone around you. When they move, you must dance to their rhythm. Without the needs of others to guide you, you often feel lost. Who are you when there is no one around to please or to pacify? To understand how we got here, we must go back to the library of your childhood, where these survival rules were first written in stone. In an unpredictable home, a child becomes a master psychologist by necessity. They learn to read the fine print of human emotion before they can read. You became hypersensitive to the slightest change. A sharp intake of breath or slightly louder footsteps meant it was time to change your behavior. Survival depended on your ability to predict the weather of the household. You had to know if a storm was coming before the first drop fell. Your hippocampus, the brain's archivist, filed away these fearful memories. It taught you that making yourself small and helpful was the only way to stay safe. You spent years walking on eggshells. You learned how to move without making a sound, how to exist without taking up any space or causing trouble. Love became conditional. You felt that you were only worthy of care when you were performing a service or being the perfect version of yourself. In this environment, understanding yourself was a luxury you couldn't afford. You had to understand them, just to survive another day in that house. You handed over the key to your happiness to someone else, hoping they would use it kindly, but they often didn't even know they had it. These childhood patterns don't just disappear. They follow you into adulthood, into your workplace, and into your most intimate romantic relationships as well. You became the reliable one, the peacekeeper. But inside, you were still that scared child trying to make sure the world didn't explode today. You became a specialist in others because knowing yourself felt dangerous. If you had needs, you might be a burden, and burdens get rejected. Your true voice was silenced by the loud demands of safety. You learned to whisper so that no one would ever have a reason to leave. Every time you fanned, you lost a piece of your authentic self. The glass flower of your identities was sacrificed for the illusion of peace. But the fog is starting to lift. It is time to stop looking outward and start looking at the system that has been running you. Let us take a moment to breathe and check in. Are you ready to look behind the mask and see what is really happening inside? Close your eyes for a second. Imagine your mind is a lake. Is it calm because you are at peace or because you are holding still? Ask yourself, does the word no feel like a crime? Does it feel like you are hurting someone just by having a boundary of your own? Is I'm sorry your default setting? Do you apologize for your existence, for your questions, or even for things that are clearly not your fault? Do you feel completely drained after being with people? Not because you are introverted, but because you spent the whole time managing their emotions for them. See, do you find that your opinions change depending on who you are talking to? Do you lose yourself as soon as someone else enters the room? You feel like a pack animal, carrying the emotional weight of your friends, family, and coworkers, believing it is your job to keep them all happy. If these signs feel familiar, please know this. It is not a failure of your character. It is a brilliant survival strategy that worked when you needed it. You are beginning to see the boundaries of the mask. Recognizing the pattern is the first step toward breaking the cycle and finding your own voice. Your heart is not lost. It is just hidden. It has been waiting for the moment when the world feels safe, enough for it to beat loudly again. Imagine the lightness of not having to fix everyone. Imagine the freedom of being disliked and being perfectly okay with that fact for once in your life. The only responsibility you truly have is to your own soul. Everyone else's emotions belong to them, not to you, and that is okay. You don't need a mask to be safe anymore. The danger of the past is not the reality of your present, though your brain might disagree. Leaving the cage of fawning feels terrifying. The open sky looks like a void, but it is actually the space where your life finally begins. You were born to fly, not to provide a perch for others. It is time to reclaim your wings and see where they can take you. But before we move forward, we must face the darker side of this strategy. The high price you have been paying for your own safety, the price of making everyone happy, is the betrayal of yourself. You have built a beautiful house for others to live in, while you hide. When the pressure becomes too much, your system shuts down. This is dissociation, a way to disconnect from your feelings so you don't burn out completely. You are there, but you are not there. You are watching yourself from a distance, performing the social script while your soul is miles away. You become a hollow shell. You are the perfect partner, the perfect child, but there is no one actually inside the costume anymore to enjoy it. Your shadow belongs to the people you please. You have given away your most basic rights, the right to be angry, the right to be sad. The words you want to say are trapped. They turn into physical tension, into headaches, into a chronic feeling of being misunderstood by the whole world. Fawning is like walking through tar. It is slow, heavy, and it stains everything it touches. It makes moving toward your own goals nearly impossible. You spend all your energy watering the fake relationships and the superficial peace, while your own inner garden is dying for a single drop of truth. When you look back at your life, you might struggle to find you. It's a collection of what others wanted, a biography written by everyone but yourself. The silence of the self is the loudest sound in the world. It is the sound of a life that is being lived in the third person. How much longer can you maintain this? The cost is rising, and the only currency you have left is your very existence. Is it worth it? The good news is that the debt can be canceled. You can stop paying. You can choose to be the person who lives in your own skin. The first chapter of your life may have been written in the invisible ink of submission, but the pen today is firmly in your hand. You have the right to be inconvenient. You have the right to be a problem. You have the right to exist without being of service to anyone. As you peel away the mask, you will find someone wonderful. Not perfect, not always happy, but someone who is real and alive and truly yours. Healing is like this sprout. It is quiet, persistent, and it will break through the hardest defenses of your past if you give it enough time. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. Not because you are helpful, not because you are nice, but because you are a human being. Start small. Say no to a small thing today. Feel the fear, let it pass, and notice that the world did not end. You are still here. Your journey back to yourself has begun. Step into the light of your own truth. And never let anyone else hold the pen of your life.